You know, do you guys get this ad every day? Okay, where was I? Welcome back, guys. Let me just start this with a story. So imagine you put down $1,000 to reserve a Rivian R1t, let's just say. And maybe you get an email, you know that you're going to get this vehicle within a month or two. But then today you get an email saying that, well, you're still getting the truck, which is good, but we're going to charge you 18% higher than what you thought you were going to pay. So enjoy your truck and also give us $20,000. Well, that's what's happening as of earlier today. There's a lot of announcements out of Rivian. We're going to dive into just why this is happening. Is it okay? How are other people handling this similar situation? Because, again, this is happening for reasons that Rivian is chalking up to supply chain issues. They're not alone, but why is it hitting Rivian so hard? Also, well, with these price increases, is it out of the ballpark now? Is nobody going to be buying these? So let's look at all of that and not much more, just that. We're going to do just that today. So let's dive in. The first thing I want to address is the one that hits home most, and it's the customer experience. So that's the most important thing to me, especially with a new startup like this that a lot of people are taking a chance on. They saw the product, they really liked what they saw, so much so that they put down $1,000. Now that's important to remember too, that this is 10 times more expensive than any other reservation. So like the Cybertruck was 100, and the Ford F150 was 100, and the Silverado, of course, was also 100. But the Rivian lines have all been $1,000. And as we can see on the website, what does it get you, right? What does that $1,000 get you? Well, priority delivery, whatever that means. It's I almost said 1,000% refundable. That'd be worth it. Yeah, if you got 1,000% refund. So 100% refundable, and update your configuration or switch models from your account. Okay. And then, of course, you can cancel at any time. I don't know what the difference between that and getting a refund is, but hey, they needed another check mark to fill out the square, I guess. So yeah, I guess I assumed that it would have locked in price. I also would have assumed more so that Rivian, being a new brand, wouldn't have done something like this to begin with. Now, a price hike is totally understandable, especially in the world we're living in right now of semiconductors shortage and parts shortage all around, just like really taking a hit on manufacturers. So, it's totally understandable, but the fact that they're going up so much screams that there's other issues happening at Rivian. Now, what could they be? More than likely, they're realizing that, the margins aren't there, or maybe that, and more so probably that scaling is a lot harder than they thought, and they need more capital to do so. A combination of all of this stuff. Another reason is, well, they announced another truck that they're doing, another version, which of course is the dual motor version. The truck, the R1t as it exists now, is quad motor. However, they announced that they're doing a dual motor as well. So another theory that I would assume is, well, if they introduce this cheaper model, they're going to have to sell it for less. And it's the lowest Rivian price before this price hike was about $67,000, and they likely can't afford to build that dual motor for much less than that 60,000 or 67,000 mark, meaning that it would cannibalize the sales of the other one, or vice versa, meaning it just didn't have a product fit in their lineup. So a strong assumption to make is they had to raise the price of the quad motors to then have a market fit for their dual motor version, which will come in probably at just slightly below where we saw the quad motor existing initially. But all that being said, was it the right move to tell people who've already had a reservation that they're subject to these price increases? That seems crazy to me. And I've probably mentioned it 4 times now. It's just almost unacceptable. But I'm sure you'll counter right away saying, hey, these are the risks you take with a startup. I mean, there's so much that can go wrong with a brand new vehicle, like production issues. These haven't been thoroughly tested by the public. You haven't seen what the 100th off the line can do on their 1,000th mile. You know what I mean? They haven't been truly painstakingly tested. So you're taking that risk alone. So just for that, you're taking that risk, but then you're also taking this risk of, well, funding for the company could fall through tomorrow, or things like this, like the price is raising. Like, you have to take all that on, and it's a reminder, as excited as we can get for some of these cool EV startups, this just goes to show you some of the hurdles that are bound to happen. Now, how should they have handled it? Probably how Tesla did. So I'm going to tell you a quick story of when I ordered my Tesla. The day before I went there, actually, the price went up $1,000 on the Model Y. And I was there, and I was kind of bummed that it happened, but I was like, eh. And I was on the fence. I didn't know if I should order, and then I was talking to the gentleman who works there, and he's like, yeah, they're probably going to keep going up with the price shortages. And they did, by the way. But what happened, because I made that, it was a $250 non-refundable, but it did lock in my price. So I put that $250 in, and I'm so glad it did, because it went up, I think, another $7,000 throughout the whole 6 months I was on the waiting list there. So very grateful that I actually did take advantage of reserving my order and locking in my price. So I was very grateful for that. And then Tesla, I think, like, no one likes the price increases, but obviously it just happens, right? So at least with them, it was only affecting people making orders after they've raised the price. So I think that's the fair way to do it. I think it's just almost the only way that you should do it, in my opinion. I mean, at least do some sort of variable pricing for the people who have already been in your system. Like, there's got to be some margins. Like, the fact that they raised it 18% is so much. Like, maybe counter that, at least, like, maybe make new people do 20%, but then people already who had an existing reservation only has to do 10, or however you do the math. Like, you could still find the same dollar amounts, and then honestly, that would just help them control the big backlog of orders they have to fill by raising the prices just for new orders. That will slow down the new orders, but they would come in and they would be at a price that makes them worth them being added to the queue. It just screams, red flag after red flag to me, the fact that they didn't do something like that. It's worrisome. And I think it's so painful to us Rivian fans. I mean, everyone loves this vehicle, and I think that's why it's so hard to see this. Everyone had a lot of hope in Rivian right now, and it's not to say it's all gone, but this is a huge hit to, like, customer bases. Like, I'm very turned off by this business practice as a whole. I don't like it. See this. Everyone had a lot of hope in Rivian right now, and it's not to say it's all gone, but this is a huge hit to, like, customer bases. Like, I'm very turned off by this business practice as a whole. I don't like it. So shout out to Brad Beckett, the commenter, who alerted me on this, because I heard that they raised prices, but I didn't actually, like, read into how much. And once I saw these numbers, I was like, I'm going downstairs. I got to make a video about this because this is insane. So thank you for alerting me to that. And then also he pointed me towards this video where I found people's actual comments of, like, actual reservation holders, and I was like, I want to hear what they're saying about it. So I'm going to read you a couple of these comments that just, like, totally just, like, yeah, this is how they deserve to feel this way. So Eric here says, I canceled my order with an almost 20K increase for me, which takes it from value to overpriced for its range and function. Sucks. Yeah, it does. But I'll be keeping my ICE truck and going with either a Lucid or a Tesla when the time comes to flip cars. So I get that. It seems like he also lost brand loyalty here, which I feel you, man. A lot of people agree, like, what's the point of the pre-order if not to lock in the price? You would have thought, right? I feel like you need to honor the people who, it just goes back to, like, honoring the people who believed in you at an earlier time. It's a shame. So it really is a bummer. But before I end this video, I want to look at one more important thing, is where does it stand in the scope of things? So right now it's the only electric truck you could buy. Like the F-150 is, I guess, technically taking orders, by the way. How cool is that? Pretty sweet, right? But, I mean, I can't go make an order right now, where Rivian, I can technically put in my $1,000 and then get in a queue. So, take that as you will. It's technically the only one you could go order today. So there's another theory. Hey, maybe they're just jacking up the prices now while they know they're the only electric truck you can buy for the next year or so. Okay, so I'm throwing up a chart right now. This is something I used in a video. Now, these are the old Rivian prices. And here I made a comparison of this versus the Ford Lightning. And as you see, the pricing stacked up pretty evenly at this time, with the Rivian Explorer package actually being a tremendous value, because you got to remember the Rivian comes standard with just so much awesome technology, where at the Lightning, to get all those cool tech features, you do have to go up to the Lariat or higher. So knowing that, you could look at everything that you have here. Everything kind of checks out, other than that the Rivian, well, it beats it in speed. It is like in a higher category, that when you consider that, it's got better battery range. And let's look towards the base Lariat here. So the Lariat base package, and then so the Lariat base with tech features is going to be $71,000. And the Rivian Explorer package is now going all the way up to almost $80K, which is crazy to think about. So if you're willing to take the range hit, then the Lariat base package plus the tech add-on is actually the way to go for sure. It's just way better value. You're going to save $10,000 now. However, if you are looking at something and you need 300 range or plus, the Lariat Extended is going to be the exact same price as the Rivian Explorer. So what Rivian has really done here is stacked it up pretty evenly to Ford's pricing. They really have. Like, it's no longer like a home run value. The only problem is you're now considering a full-size truck for the same price you are as a smaller mid-size Rivian. So if size is not a factor, then the Rivian still holds its own weight there. It's still a little bit quicker. You still have some cool, quirky kind of features that I really enjoy with it. But the standard value of the F-150 is just going to, you know, it has more options, all said and done. It's bigger. So it's very interesting to see how these stack up now. However, you really still got to give it up to the Lightning in almost every respect here. And I know it's hard to sound biased when I'm literally wearing Lightning merch right now, but it's also hard to be a fan of Rivian after what they did today, if I'm being fully honest. Although I full disclosure, I still really love the product. I think it's a really cool truck, and the SUV is also great. I can't wait to see those. So that's the story of what happened with Rivian today. It's wild, it's crazy, and it's important because it just shows us what could still happen at any turn with any of the competitors in the EV space right now. It's a hard battle right now, not only just because there's so much more competition, but there's so much more competition fighting for parts that we don't have a lot of. It's going to keep driving prices up, at least for, like, you know, a while, actually. I think I've heard reports deep until the end of 2023. So, the prices aren't going down from what I've heard. If you're interested, here's some friendly advice. If you're interested in purchasing a new vehicle, unfortunately, you got to lock in one of these things sooner than later. But there's something to keep in mind too. Of course, remember that as crazy as these new prices are, the value of your used car, if you're trading in, if you're buying and you don't own a car right now, I'm sorry, it sucks. I don't envy you. But if you have a used vehicle, the market has gone up enough for used vehicles to basically balance out the price of a new vehicle. So there's a kind of a little bit of hope there for you folks, but man, it's really tough out there. And it's only going to get worse, unfortunately. There's a lot to uncover in the near future, so, well, I'll be here watching it, so feel free to subscribe, and we'll we'll find it and we'll go through it together. I'm gonna end the video now. I appreciate you guys watching. Yeah, I think that's all I got. Yeah, definitely is all I got. Okay. Bye.